Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. My name is Jeffrey Reboron and my task is to give you an overview of the concept of educational administration and how it came to be by revisiting its history. Before we begin, please allow me to present my session objectives. By the end of my report, we will all understand the nature and basic functions of educational administration and educational management. Aside from that, we will all be able to pinpoint the key differences and the aims or objectives of both educational administration and educational management. And by the end of my report, we will all gain a deeper understanding of how educational administration was founded through a quick review of its history. We cannot talk about educational administration without first defining what administration really is. When we talk about administration, it means the process of systematically arranging and coordinating the human and material resources that are available to any organization for the main purpose of achieving the stipulated goals of the organization. When applied to school systems, the process is called as educational administration or school administration. When we speak of educational administration, it is regarded as the process of integrating the appropriate human and material resources that are made available and made effective for achieving the purposes of a program of an educational institution. That means that educational administration is a process of bringing men and materials together for effective and functional teaching and learning in the school. The focus, ladies and gentlemen, of educational administration is the enhancement of teaching and learning. And we can define educational administration as a process through which the school administrators arrange and coordinate the resources available to education for the purpose of achieving the goals of the educational system. Now let us talk about the nature of educational administration. As stipulated, educational administration and management are multi-process approach, and it doesn't refer to any single process. Rather, different processes or aspects constitute administration and management when it comes to running the school. Educational administrators and managers are often placed in situations where they juggle in between tasks that involve planning, organizing, directing, coordinating, and evaluating. That's why the process of educational administration is often called a multi-process or multi-pronged approach. Aside from that, educational administration and management is a non-profit task. And although most of the school administrators that we know are paid 6 to 7 figures per month, most of these educational administrators do not get monetary remuneration or rewards from the excellent work that they do. And unlike businessmen or managers of the business that they get commission from or monetary rewards for a job well done, the rewards of being a good educational administrator is often non-monetary and intangible. Another unique nature of educational administration and management is that it is primarily a social enterprise because it is more concerned with human resources than with material resources. Educational administrators are often responsible for ensuring that their employees are satisfied and productive in their current posts and that the working culture and environment bring out the best of its personnel. Another thing is that educational administration and management is both an art and a science. In educational administration, we use a mix of models, frameworks, and concepts from both hard and soft sciences, especially on aspects involving human relations, data forecasting and use of statistics, and psychological well-being, and others. Thus, educational administrators are expected to be well-versed in the art and sciences of manning the school. Another nature of educational administration is that education and management is a complex affair. Being the helm of an educational institution, educational administrators are often faced with interrelated and confounding problems. Problems are often multifaceted and are rooted in different soils, and the job of an educational administrator is to understand these complexities. So these are the nature of educational administration and management. The terms administration and management are sometimes used synonymously, and that's perfectly okay because educational administration is a component part of educational management. However, there are vital differences between management and administration that we, future administrators and school managers, should be very aware of. For instance, when we speak of management, it is a systemic way of managing people and things within the organization. But when we speak of administration, it is defined as an act of administering the whole organization by a group of people. Another key difference is that management is an activity of functional level, whereas administration is a high-level activity. While management focuses on policy implementation, policy formulation is often performed by the administration. Another key difference is that functions of administration include legislation and determination, and conversely, functions of management are executive and governing. And management plays an executive role in the organization, and unlike administration, whose role is decisive in nature. Another crucial difference between administration and management is that administration takes all the important decisions of the organization, while management makes decisions under the boundaries set by the administration. When we speak of group of persons who are employees of the organization, they are collectively known as the management. However, administration represents the leaders of the organization. Aside from that, another difference of administration and management is that management is all about plans and actions, but the administration is concerned with framing policies and setting objectives. On the other hand, the manager looks after the management of the organization, whereas the administrator is responsible for the administration of the organization. And management focuses on managing people and their work, and on the other hand, administration focuses on making the best possible utilization of the organization's resources. So those are the key differences between administration and management. Now let us talk about the objectives of educational administration and management. As we know, educational administration needs integration and coordination of all physical and human resources and educational elements. Besides, it requires a great deal of efficiency and competence anchored on human sympathy, understanding, knowledge and skills in managing physical and human relationships, and other skills. These skills and elements are parts made into a whole and are components brought into harmonious relationships. So the purpose of doing such vital task is to fulfill different purposes which are known as the objectives of educational administration, which I will now be presenting. One of the goals of educational administration and management is to provide proper education to students. This objective seeks to mention the fact that good education doesn't mean education at a very high cost, as is practiced in modern public schools. Rather, it means that the right type of education from the right type of teachers within reasonable costs should be done, and that is the responsibility of school administrators. This objective also implies quantitative expansion and qualitative improvement of education, and that lies within the hands of school administrators and school managers. Another objective of educational administration is to ensure adequate utilization of all resources. For adequate realization of the various purposes or objectives of educational programs, there is the need to ensure adequate utilization of all available resources. be it human, material, and financial. And that is where educational administration and management comes in, because it ensures the utilization of all resources that are made available for the school. Another aim or objective of educational administration and management is to ensure professional ethics and professional development among teachers. Since teachers are the senior and most mature human elements to accelerate the attainment of the objectives of the school, they should be encouraged and given the facility to devise or try out innovative ideas or instruction and to participate in service educational programs. In this context, it can be visualized that educational administration should always aim at developing a desire for hard work, dedication, and commitment for the jobs among teachers. Another objective of educational administration is it aims to organize educational programs for acquainting students with the art of democratic living and giving them the excellent training they need to become democratic citizens. Another objective of educational administration is to mobilize the community. Educational administration seeks to maintain and improve the relations within the community, and for this, it should seek community support and cooperation for quantitative expansion, qualitative improvement, and by involving stakeholders and community leaders in dialogues that may directly or indirectly affect education. More so, another aim of educational administration and management is to organize co-curricular activities effectively for developing the talents of students and work efficiency of educational sisters. This means that educational administration should prepare students for taking their places in various vocations and avenues of life, to provide adequate opportunities for all learners to develop their skills, their talents, scientific attitude, and objective outlook is also one of the goals of educational administration and educational management. More importantly, another aim of educational administration is to run the school or to get the work done. The most important objective of administration is to get the work done effectively, efficiently, by operating the school within satisfactory levels to the individuals and for the benefit of the whole society. Lastly, the aim of educational administration is to ensure qualitative improvement of education. Good education can be provided to students by bringing qualitative improvements in instruction, and regular supervision of teaching and guidance of teachers help to ensure quality teaching in school. So those, ladies and gentlemen, are the aims and objectives of educational administration and educational management. Now let us zero in on the history of educational administration. We have to remember that educational administration and management's histories are closely linked to the classical approach to management. We cannot talk about educational administration without talking about theorists like Frederick Taylor, Max Weber, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth, Henry Gantt, Harrington Emerson, and many others who have made the classical approach to management a mainstay in different industries. The classical approach to management gained its popularity in the year 1990s. However, the principles of the classical approach are still accepted even today, even in the field of education. And the classical approach is one of the oldest approaches in management. And this approach concentrates on increasing production rather than increasing manpower. It also believes that the employee can be motivated by economic incentives. And in the classical approach to management, there are three branches, including scientific management, administrative management, and bureaucratic management approach. These three branches are also known as the pillars of the classical approach to management and are also part of the history of educational administration. Now it's time for us to discuss deeper the first pillar of the classical approach to organization and management, which is the scientific management approach by Frederick Taylor, which was promulgated in the year 1884. As we all know, Frederick W. Taylor is the father of the scientific management approach and is also often called the father of educational administration. We have to remember that in the scientific management approach, Taylor postulated that discarding the traditional approach to management and adopting newer and more scientific approaches in their place is necessary. He also believed that prior to commencing any work, a manager should first analyze the organization thoroughly because scrutiny is necessary for organizational success. Taylor also postulated a myriad of management and administrative principles, including the scientific rule of thumb, the scientific selection and training of workers, the principle of cooperation between labor and management, the principle of maximum output, the principle of equal division of responsibility, and differential wage systems. One pillar of the classical approach is the administrative management approach by Henry Fayol. This approach is also called structural theory organization as it deals with formal organizations. The administrative theory of management is concerned with the entire range of managerial performances, and this approach believes that both knowledge and experience are essential for the success of managerial practice. The administrative management approach assumes that there are certain fundamental principles in an organization to achieve a specific objective. According to Fayol, management can be seen as an activity. The managerial activities include planning, organizing, coordinating, commanding, and controlling. And the above description makes it clear that management is an activity. However, Henry Fayol also claimed management to be universal. Management is a kind of activity which is implemented regardless of the type of the enterprise. In other words, major functions and basic principles of management have been universally applicable. It can be applied in the military, it can be applied in businesses, and it also can be applied in managing schools or educational systems. Now let us look at the different functions of management according to Henry Fayol, which include planning, organizing, coordinating, commanding, and controlling. When we speak of planning, it means developing the strategic landscapes for achieving organizational goals. Planning is sometimes based on foresight, which is the fundamental capacity of an individual to mentally time travel. When we speak of organizing, it means aligning the activities and the programs of the organization to attain its institutional goals and objectives. However, when we speak of coordinating, it means unification, integration, and synchronization of the efforts of the group in order for us to attain our common goals and objectives. However, when we speak of commanding, it means supervising, directing, and guiding the subordinates in their daily work. When we speak of controlling, it involves observing and reporting deviations from plans and objectives, and also giving reprimand and punishments if need be. Henry Fayol also introduced 14 principles of administration and management, and these are also now reflected in our practices in educational administration. And we are already familiar with this concept, so we will just do a quick rundown about them. The 14 principles of administrative management include specialization of work, discipline, authority, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest, and remuneration policy. Also included in the 14 principles of administration and management are centralization, scalar chain of command, order, equity, personal tenure, initiative, and esprit de corps. And I know for a fact that you are already familiar with these 14 principles of administration and management because we are already applying it on our own schools and our own organizations. So as you know, the 14 principles of administrative management are part of the rich history of educational administration. The third pillar of the classical approach to organization and management is the bureaucratic management approach by Max Weber. Weber postulated that strict rules should be framed to eliminate managerial inconsistencies because he believes that these inconsistencies will breed organizational inefficiency. According to Max Weber, success in a big organization is possible only with the help of bureaucratic management and strict adherence to bureaucratic principles and policies. Weber also forwarded different principles of bureaucratic management, and that includes proper division of work. In proper division of work, it means distribution of work is on the basis of specialization, and it means that an individual should be allotted the work in which he or she specializes. Aside from that, there should be clear hierarchy of authority in bureaucratic management. The authority of the superior and the subordinate should be clearly defined and demarcated, and every employee is responsible for the decisions taken by him and his subordinates. Aside from that, there is also what we call system of rules. These are clear rules and they are framed to govern the activities carried on within the organization. These rules should be strictly implemented. Aside from that, according to the bureaucratic management approach, there should be impersonal relations between the people within the organization. Under this approach, personal relations are always ignored. Rewards are given not on the basis of personal relations, but on the basis of efficiency and effectiveness. Aside from that, Weber also believes that promotion should be based on competence. According to this approach, the basis of promotion should always be the competence or the effectiveness of an individual or a teacher when it comes to attaining the organizational objectives. So as you can see, the principles of bureaucratic management are also observed in our own educational institutions, and we can say that the bureaucratic management approach is also part of the history of educational administration. One interesting concept that has been developed to completely remove itself from the scientific theory is the behavioral management theory, which is also known as the social science movement, which was developed by Chester Barnard. This approach viewed that the workers are psychological and social beings and that there is no way of separating the human being and the worker as they are one and the same. According to the behavioral management theory, it believes that the decisions and actions that are made within the organization should always be in the best interest of both the company and the workers. And the idea of behavioral management is about understanding the idea that managers should comprehend human or worker needs within the organization. The behavioral management theory had a great impact on learning organizations, as it provided new view on how teachers can be made more motivated and productive through the use of application of principles on social sciences, psychology, economics, and government. So it is safe to say that the behavioral management theory is also part and parcel to the history of educational administration and management. Mary Parker Foley developed the human relations theory with regards to employees having a more satisfying life by being given the opportunity to solve conflicts through a process of democracy and conversation. According to this theory, there are 6 points in which democratic problem solving happens in human relations. Number 1 is listening to each other's point of view. Number 2 is accepting others' viewpoints. Number 3 is integrating these viewpoints in pursuit of a common goal. Number 4 is ensuring coordination is achieved in the early stages. Number 5 is making sure that there is reciprocal understanding. And number 6 is ensuring that coordination between the worker and the administrator is a continual process. The human relations theory lends itself to the idea that human employees should be given a chance to offer holistic influence on organizations for them to feel more motivated to work. In conclusion, educational administration is a complex task. Like a complicated dish with different ingredients, educational administration has borrowed several principles, models, and frameworks across different disciplines over the years, including ethics and moral studies, scientific theories, economics and business administration, and political and social sciences. The unique blend of art and science behind educational administration is what makes it interestingly unique and effective at the same time. Albeit, educational administration is a complex task, adequate knowledge on educational administration and educational management is always vital in attaining the school's vision, mission, objectives, and targets. And that concludes my report on the overview of educational administration and its history. Maraming salamat po for listening. But before I end my slide, allow me to pose a question. Is the lift's only purpose to fall? Were we born in this world to run a cycle of eat, sleep, work, and then eventually die? Or are we here to make a difference? With that being said, maraming salamat po and keep safe.